Hello, it's week 2 of season 8 of the Andy Griffith Show. This week's episode title is Howard the Bowler. Andy is ironing Andy's bowling team shirt. The shirts were donated by Enid's Fix-It Shot, so he could get the advertising exposure from the logo on the shirt. They're gonna play Mount Tyler tonight, and then Gooder comes by with bad news. One of the bowlers had to leave town on business, Lou Jenkins. So they go and tell Enid, and he takes it pretty bad. He says he invested a lot of money in those shirts, and they can't think of anyone available to replace Lou. And Andy says, well, there is Howard, but Emmett and Goober say, no, Andy, we want to still try to win. And Andy says, well, Howard's been getting better. And then Howard comes in and he says, I heard you all need a bowler for tonight. And he hints that he's been getting better at bowling. And they all try to change the subject, and Andy can see that really depresses Howard. So after Howard leaves, Andy convinces Gooder and Enid to ask Howard to fill in. He says it's just a game. If we're gonna lose, at least we'll lose as friends. That's the important thing. So they do ask him, and he says yes. And in Howard's first 2 practice shots that night, he gets a spare. And then for his first shot in the competition, he gets a strike, and then another strike. And Andy and Gooder don't do as well. And then Howard gets 2 more strikes for 4 in a row. And the other team starts to want to know, who is this guy, Howard? Where'd you get him? Is he a pro? And then Andy does get a strike himself. And then Howard gets 4 more for 8 strikes in a row. And the other team dits them 4-1 that Howard can't bowl a terrific game. So Howard bowls 3 more strikes, and Gooder tells him, 1 more, and you're gonna be famous. But right when he's about to roll the ball, the lights go out. The main circuit went out because they had turned up the air conditioning so much. And Andy goes to investigate, and he comes back and says, it's going to be 3 or 4 hours before we can get the power back on. But the other team wants Howard to throw the last ball right now anyway. And Andy says that's not fair. Howard can't even see the pins. And he says the fair thing would be for all of them to come back tomorrow night and have Howard throw the ball then. And the other team grudgingly says okay. So they all stop by Andy's house afterwards for coffee, and they all start talking about tomorrow night. But Andy says we should change the subject. He don't want Howard to get too tense about it. And that night Howard can't sleep. He gets up and he practices his swing. And then he reads a little bit. The next night at the bowling alley, Howard has a headache because he's so sleepy and stressed from last night. And his first 2 practice balls are gutter balls. And he tells Andy, I've lost it, Andy. And Andy tries to get the other team to call off the debt, considering the tower outage and all. And after arguing for a while, they say okay. But then Howard does bowl a strike. And now Gooder and Enid are mad that Andy called off the debt. And the next day, Howard comes to Andy in the courthouse to return the bowling shirt, since he says he was just a fill-in and not permanent. And Andy congratulates him again, and then he says he just talked to Enid and Gooder, and they're not mad about the debt anymore. And Andy says, why don't you just keep that shirt? I think Enid will want you to have it. So Howard is happy, and he says okay. We'll see you next week for episode 3.